Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Real Estate with Ryan. So excited to be with you on a Saturday. Always fun talking real estate. Hope everybody's staying warm. Hope you're enjoying your new year off to 2026, and the real estate market is picking up dramatically. At least we've been really busy here the last couple of days, especially this week. And so a lot of news on the real estate market. We got a great show for you. Getting back the first time in 2026. Kind of hard to get back to it. Had a little enjoyment mode, a little New Year's break, a little Christmas break. Hope everybody had an amazing time with family, friends, and it's hard to believe we're back at it. Know a lot of basketball and things like that with our kids are winding down, and got more basketball and sports and all that, so keeping everybody busy, and hope everybody's doing well. A little bit of sickness in the Coleman house. We had to get over that. It seems like everybody in East Tennessee got something going on. And so it's been that kind of year. It always is that time of year where things are going around, and got the sanitized bottle, chasing my kids around with the sanitized bottle, So we got a great, amazing show for you. Thought we'd talk about, will affordability improve in 2026? Will it change? And I saw some things today on the news that President Trump was looking at some creative ways to kind of engage or improve affordability. So we'll talk about that. Some ideas there. Why we see in the East Tennessee housing market. What does that mean for buyers, sellers? And all that. And then, of course, we'll go into the second half. We've got a good show for you there as always. A lot of sellers that we talk to. We're selling or buying. We talk about whether I'm going to buy or sell and if I'm going to fix anything. And I had a great property the other day this week. Looked at it, and this is routine now. This isn't just, one time. I'll meet with the seller, and they'll say, well, look, I'm not looking to fix anything. I'm just going to sell it. What do you say? As is, Ryan. I want to sell it as is. So I'm going to give you some numbers about that as is. Is that worth it today as we proceed into the spring market? Are we finding most sellers fixing any repairs? And is that beneficial? And what can you do about all that on the second half, Real Estate with Ryan? So we got a jam-packed show for you. As always, before we start, we got some congrats, some new listings, some closings as we carried over the end of the year, kind of the last couple of days of the end of the year. We want to make sure we give a lot of shout-outs on the radio there. And so our team's been busy. So let's see here. Let's see. What do we have scheduled today? That's always the schedule. So we got a new listing that is new construction, cabin out in Street of Dreams, great past client of ours. Beautiful property. And if you build in the Smokies, you may know that statement. It's over budget. Everything's over budget. Costs a little more than we thought, but turned out beautiful. Make sure you check that out on 1017 Street of Dreams. 206 Forest Loop Way, out on number 15 in Gatlinburg. Check that property out. 262 Twilight Boulevard in Sharps Chapel. That's a beautiful unit there. A little quiet subdivision there. Union County. Owners kind of have a second home back and forth, going to Florida a little bit when it's chilly like this. And so it's a great opportunity to get in that neighborhood. It shows very well. Make sure you check that out. New listing in Maryville, 307 McMaster's Place. Check that property out. And 1796 Mockingbird Lane, new listing back on the market there. And congrats to our great pendings. Couple days on the market on 214 Tanglewood Road. That was a remodel there in Harriman. And then Lot 26 Mulberry Road in Harriman. There's some larger tract of land in Harriman that went under contract. And we're seeing that, right? I think we've got some more larger tracts of land, and that is what people are looking for. So if you're thinking about selling your land or have a property on your land as far as a dwelling and thinking about selling, give us a call. We've got a list of buyers that are looking for that kind of property. Let's see what else we got here. Alyssa Way, 4230 Alyssa Way, cabin in Gatlinburg, under contract. Congrats to our great friends out in White Pine, Tennessee. A beautiful property there. There was an estate sale. I was actually able to help that and get that sold. They had it a little bit listed for themselves, and then they tried other ways to do it, and we were able to come in and get it done. And needless to say, it was never easy, though. Well, we had a little bit of snag at the last minute, but we were able to get it to close. So appreciate her kind words the other day. And 326 Shooting Star Loop, great client from California. Had a property out in Townsend. Was on the market for a little bit of time, and we were able to get that sold for her in short order. So it was good to do that for her. Great client there. And then Timber Creek Road in Maynardville, been on the market for a little while. They almost gave up hope, and I think we were chatting with them. We closed them. They were actually our last sale of the year, and so was super excited to get that done for them. And they weren't sure if they were going to stay there or not. Got it closed and ready to move on to a new chapter in their life. So excited for that opportunity there. So that's what we've been doing. We've been busy. So a lot of things have been busy. As the January market turns, a lot of people, obviously, it's cold like this today. Nobody really wants to get out and kind of work on the house or have it ready. But the topic that we're talking about, what I think will kind of set it home a little bit. We'll kind of fit it home. Where are we going with the markets? Well, if you're waiting for the mortgage interest rates to adjust, you're waiting too long because they already have done so. And we're seeing some of the adjustments that the home sales have stayed very low in 25, but matching the lowest level in about roughly 30 years. So we still had over 4 million homes, 4.06 million existing homes for sale that year. That reflects a slow turnover nationwide. Now, if you're watching the real estate market, everything's seasonal and location, right? So what's in the Knoxville housing markets versus Atlanta, Georgia, or the Florida market, or Destin, or Nevada, each market's going to be different. So that's why it's so important that you get an agent that knows your market the best, understands what's going on, supply, demand, what buyers are paying. And, real estate, I always encourage you, real estate, 6-12 months is what the news is reporting. And a great agent knows in the marketplace today what buyers are willing to pay. We've got a great condo that we're working on right now, and it's in the Silverville market, close to $1 million. And it's the second offer we're working on, and hopefully we've been able to put it together. But we're seeing those type of buyers in different types of markets in different price ranges. And so I think that that's encouraging to kind of look at. Talking lower mortgage rates, I think that's one of the biggest things we talk about, affordability and how will that improve this year. And so, just the affordability of the interest rates are looking like about 6.18 now. So about for a 30-year mortgage, 6.18%, and that's down from the 7% in 2025. And some of the conversations that we're having with clients are just talking in general and say, listen, especially in markets where they're short-term rentals or vacation markets like your Florida market, like the Smokies, like Colorado market, different markets like that, where the lenders actually charge almost an extra point or so on top of that loan. Makes it very unaffordable, along with the rental incomes that some of those short-term rentals or investment properties are generating. They're just not there. And if the numbers don't make sense, you're not seeing them move unless there's a huge discount or a larger discount to offset the pricing there. So we're expecting that lower mortgage rates will start drawing more buyers off the sidelines, especially those are moving from other states. You've all seen the news articles that Knoxville, or the East Tennessee housing market for 2026, is expected to be the number one relocation area of buyers across the area. That's needless to see of how many that may mean, but that's an opportunity that says, hey, job growth is here. We were talking, have a conversation yesterday that how much COVID has changed just the dynamics of the housing market of, where you work from home, how business operates, different things like that. And so this great couple we're working with, they're from Northern Virginia. And, all those things have changed into opening up where people are relocating. So I think that that's going to be a great opportunity for East Tennesseans. If you're selling, that's great. If you're buying, that's a great opportunity. National forecasts expect slightly higher sales, but modest price gains in 2026. But affordability challenge will continue, especially for first-time buyers. That's always tough. We talk about that now. The first-time buyer is close to 40 years old. And a lot of that is just affordability is not there. And so a lot of first-time buyers, if the parents are not helping them, they've just kind of been put on the sideline and not getting into home ownership. And so hopefully that's going to change with some ideas. We know Fannie and Freddie Mac, one or both of those may be going public. That opportunity there that may open up some mortgage rates and a more affordability. Nationally, we're seeing the housing market is pretty, moderate all over the place. It's not crashing. It's not oversupplying. It's more of a balanced condition marketplace. And locally in East Tennessee, we've seen sales jump almost 30% year over year. And that's a big sign that the housing market is waking up. And so these are signs for you across the housing market that the Knoxville housing market is right around $363,000 year over year. And some of that data shows a little bit flatter and cooler than other prices. So we got our second half coming up here in just a few. Stay with us. Real Estate with Ryan. We'll be right back.
When speed matters, every second counts.
Wow, that was fast.
In real estate, speed is an advantage.
In football, speed is crucial.
In softball, speed is game-changing.
If you want your home sold fast,
Trust Ryan Coleman and his team at Hometown Realty for fast results.
Thanks, guys. Go Big Orange.
Hometown Realty is East Tennessee's #1 real estate group and a proud sponsor.
I'm Ryan
of the
Coleman
Malls.
with Hometown Realty. The real estate market's changing every day. You need to know your home's value in today's market. Text your home address to 290-2290 for an instant, no obligation home evaluation. That's 865-290-2290. And remember, when you're ready to sell, we have a guaranteed sale program to get you in your next home stress-free. Trust your hometown experts. We've helped thousands of people just like you. All right, we're back at it, Real Estate with Ryan. Thank you for tuning in. Second half, got a lot to cover here. Been off a little bit. It's first show back in 2026, so sorry for the little reruns, but got to do it. Maybe you didn't know it was a rerun, but we had some good shows we want to rerun. Last week we talked about seniors, how important that is, and how that will be important in our 2026 market, really. Helping seniors. I mean, we specialize working with a lot of our seniors. I'd probably say 70% of our business is probably our senior market, maybe a little bit less than that, but we look forward to helping them challenges as we move forward in 2026. Before we get going, as always, and I didn't start at this, new year, new plans, new goals, and opportunities to listen to Real Estate with Ryan. You can always check us out every Saturday at News Talk 98.7 at 1 o'clock. Of course, Talk Radio 92.3 FM at 11 a.m. And of course, we're also streaming live on their Facebook channel. So make sure you check us out there. And in case you miss Real Estate with Ryan, you got opportunities to catch us out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, streaming on Spotify, iTunes, and Google. Always can catch us there, Real Estate with Ryan, with the latest news in the real estate housing market. So much going on. And you may say, Ryan, where do I start? If I'm buying or if I'm selling? And I'll say really the first opportunity or where you want to start is hire a great agent, your team member. Talk about the vols. We're going to talk about the 60-second vol update here in just a few minutes, but it's teamwork for the dream work. And, purchasing a home or selling a home in 2026 has never had a better opportunity, but that could come with some challenges. And it's a great teamwork over here. We have an amazing team. I've been doing the business almost 27 years. Hard to believe that, 27 years. And been in the business, thousands of homes, et cetera, but most importantly, had a lot of experience in probably almost every situation you can think of. We'd always be there for you. So if you're selling, I had some great clients that came in yesterday. They're going to be putting their home on the market in spring. And that was one of the things that they were saying, and we'll lead into our second part of talking about selling as is, or do I do some minor things, is, Ryan, we plan to move into this new home, and we weren't looking to do anything. We wanted to just put our suitcases down. And they're going to be hiring us to help them on this whole process of selling their home and purchasing one and getting it all done. And so, I really just urge you to reach out to us. We're easy to reach. You can catch us on social media pretty much anywhere. You can go to my website, look us more about us if you're tuning in for the first time. Any information on there may be helpful for you. It's ryancoleman.org. If you're not really in a stage ready to, talk to an agent, but you want to know where your value is at, your home's value, do that right there. It's free online. We give you that immediate information on what your home is worth. And if you want a little bit more detail to the exact penny, you can just give us a call, put the message in, and we'll get right back to you. There's no pressure there. Moving forward, presentation, I always tell everybody, presentation means a lot, but being prepared for this market, whether buying, selling, repairs, all that is going to be key. And so we'd be honored to help you any step of the way we can do that moving forward. We'll get into our 60-second vol update, as always. Drum roll, please. All right, we got a lot of things going on. A lot of things going on in the portal. I mean, Coach is really working out there. Teams over there just amazing. I know the portal closes just in a day or so or less, but the amount of movement in the portal that Coach Heupel is doing and staff, I mean, it's amazing. And so I'm excited to see what we're seeing here. A lot of movement in the portal, a lot of new faces. I think we're going to be pleased. So excited for our football team. Amazing work there. Proud of those guys and all that work that they're putting in. Got a little basketball as always. We are Lady Vols versus those Wildcats. That's going to be here the 22nd at 6:30 at Thompson Bowling, Food City Center. Make sure you check that property. Check that out. I said check that property. You know I'm thinking property, but I'm thinking buckets. Lady Vols undefeated in SEC play, so make sure you check them out. Haven't had a chance to make a game yet, but you guys can. All you got to do is make sure you follow us for men, women. We're giving away tickets, so make sure you don't forget our social channels. Like, share, and subscribe. That's all you have to do, and we're going to send 2 lucky groups to go see either men or women's games, okay? That's what we got so far. We got our men. We're playing away. Let's see here. And then our next home game will be Auburn, January 31st, Food City Center, and that is at 8:30, January 31st. And then we get into kind of February play. Starts, so it's right around the corner. So that is our 60-second Vol update. Hometown Realty, proud sponsor of the Vols. Go Big Orange. So, a lot going on in the news. Talking about affordability. Talking about whether it makes sense to sell from your 2 or 3% interest rate house. You know, all that kind of comes into play. And I get that. In the housing market, there's a lot going on. But people are downsizing. People are moving. And there's opportunities that we're going to see here in East Tennessee. With affordability at its best it's seen in 3 years, experts agree that the momentum will keep going into 2026. And based on an analysis of key factors shaping the housing market year ahead, mortgage rates, inventory, and home prices. You know, we talked about it. Lower mortgage rates are already here. And, you know, who knows? We can always guess to say, well, maybe it goes down a little bit. But they're almost under 6. And that's a great opportunity to purchase where, like we said in the first half, it's almost a year ago, was at 7. Buyers' lower rates reduce monthly payments, increase buying power, and that combo helps more people qualify for homes that previously were just out of the budget. Maybe bring some more first-time buyers back in the market. For sellers, it may be a time to accept the interest rates. They're in the 6s. And, you know, I've been doing it, like I said, going on 27 years. When I got in, it was 6% rate. That was a good rate, you know. So normally it's a good opportunity. You can always refinance. I think that's one of the biggest things is we may never see 3 or 4% interest rates again, but 6% right now is affordable and puts a lot more options on the table. We expect the new number of homes of sale improvements will increase by about 15%. Not to mention that the inventory gains of a big piece of what's happening on price growth will probably slow down. So, you know, we're expected somewhere, experts say, that expected moderate home price growth in 2026 is only going to be somewhere about 1.6%. Okay? So, you know, wages are hopefully increasing more than that. More homes will sell this year as all the data and affordability equation in 2026. That's why experts are saying that we should see more homes sell and more people purchase. A lot of people are expecting a stronger year. We know affordability is there. The challenge is, I was watching some experts or some news anchors chat the other day, and they were saying really the only way, how do you really get affordability, is unless the prices dramatically drop. And I don't think you're going to see that happen across the board. So more interest rates, more affordability. Somebody was talking about the 50-year mortgage. I don't think that's really going to take off. Don't think that's going to be the answer. But we talked about in the first segment that, you know, President Trump may have some creativity with the bonds, et cetera. But that being said, One of the biggest things I think in 2026 is not to hesitate. If you're buying or selling, and one of the most important things we ask our clients is, why are you doing what you're doing? What's important about your move? And that's, from a combination of reasons. And so it's just most important. Are you moving for more space for your family? Are the stairs too much? Are we moving closer to family? So a lot of those factors come into play. Are you behind on payments and things like that? So there's different factors. And sometimes the market conditions are never perfect, but I know 2026 is a lot better than the last couple of years we've seen. I think it's a great opportunity to buy or sell. Let's talk about if you are selling. If you're selling as is, as we talked about it, some people want to say, hey, well, I want to sell as is, Ryan. That means no repairs. Ryan, that means, hey, I want $450, and that I want that in my pocket. I'm not wanting to pay for any repairs. Almost 2/3 of sellers are doing some kind of repairs before prior listing to the home, whether they're with an agent or listing with themselves. 53% did minor renovations. 12% did major renovations, so a small amount. And then 35% said, hey, I'm selling it as is. Selling it as means you're signaling up front that you won't handle the repairs before listing or negotiating after inspections. That can definitely simplify things on your end, but it also narrows the borrower pool. I try to cut this quickly, but some of the clients that came through me and we met the other day, and they had this nightmare of a real estate situation, and they wanted a move-in situation and just wasn't there. So if you're selling your home in today's market, get with a great agent, and sometimes these minor repairs may not only make your home sell faster and for more money, but have more buyers available for your property. I hope you've enjoyed the show. As always, I've enjoyed the time. Look forward to seeing you back next weekend with Real Estate with Ryan. Have an amazing weekend. Take care.